Hey Gaurav, I can't hear you.
All right. So are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the feedback. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, based on which part of the world you're at. And welcome to this webinar on the Devops Mastery System. We did a similar session on Wednesday, but some of you might have missed it. So there was a request for doing this session one more time. And here we are again, meeting live and talking about the Devops Mastery System. Let me share my screen and begin with the presentation. And there are five things that I'm going to talk about today. So what is this DevOps Master System? Why did I create it? What is it all about? How does it work? And how do we get started with the membership levels that we have created with the DevOps Master System? So to give you the context, why I started with this is, a lot of you already know that I've been doing the corporate trainings for the last 11, 12 years. And even before that, I've been a DevOps person. So I started my career as an ops guy and then, became a DevOps consultant. I helped companies of various sizes, to build their DevOps strategies and implement those. And I've been teaching on these topics, starting with Puppet and Chef back in 2012. Then came Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes. I've been teaching on CI/CD, cloud, containers, and everything related to DevOps, right? So that sphere of implementation is what my expertise has been. And I've been creating courses since I think 2017. I'm talking about the self-paced online courses. I began with Udemy. I started with a book, then I started creating the courses, the video courses, because I thought it's more effective, way to teach and to learn as well. And then I started creating courses, publishing it on Udemy. I started building my own, working on my own platform around the same time. I got an opportunity to work with Linux Foundation. I've created about 5 to 6 courses for them as well. And while I was doing the training on one side and the self-paced courses on the other, I was always trying to find the best possible way to build a holistic program for people to build their DevOps careers, right? Because in my corporate trainings, it's very effective. And despite having the self-paced courses, people come for the trainings because of the live interaction and, the certain advantage of having that live interaction way to figure out things quickly, getting help and guidance when there's a need, etc. So I've always wanted to build this holistic program where which you can take and get on your way to master DevOps basically. My initial take towards that was in the form of a classroom-based program called as DevOps Mini Degree, which I think I did run in 2018 or something. And while it was good, it was not a scalable thing to build either, right? So I wanted to make sure that I reach out to as many people as possible across the globe, and the best possible way to do so was building something which has live session interactivity, and as well as there's some level of interactivity, as well as building a self-paced program where people can go and learn on their own at a deeper level, right? So I started building the courses, but courses I found were not the most effective way of learning, because I have bought a lot of courses and not used them as effectively as I should have. So that is when I started experimenting with various things, and that's what has led to the DevOps Mastery System. And the goal that we started with is a simple, where we have organization on one side who are trying to find the good DevOps talent and struggling to do so. And I hear that a lot from a lot of organizations that I talk to. On the other hand, we have professionals who want to build the DevOps career, or they are working as DevOps personnel, but they want to grow into their career to the next level. And that is the gap that we want to bridge, where organizations want to find the right talent, and the professionals want to build that skills, skill set related required to get there, right? And to bridge that gap, we created the DevOps, wanted to create a DevOps program. and that led to the DevOps Mastery System. So what is DevOps Mastery System? So as I told you, I started with the courses, but courses alone were not effective. So what is an effective way of teaching is what I've been asking, and this is a work in progress. And so far, I've come to the 5 C's of learning here. That is what we are basing this DevOps Mastery System on. And those 5 C's are courses, of course, which help you do the deep dive into each of this topic, because I have taken so much effort to build each of this course. If you take each of this course alone, it will give you about 3 weeks of learning and so on, right? And that's not possible with the classroom model, where we have limited time and we can teach only few things, and it's not always about taking each topic and diving deeper into it, right? Which is what where courses are very effective. However, courses alone are not enough, because it's very difficult when it is self-paced courses to keep track of or be motivated rather, and complete those all those courses in a certain period of time, right? And that is when we introduced the 4 additional C's in this DevOps Mastery System, and that is what is this system is made up of. So in addition to the courses, we have this coaching component where we have the weekly live sessions. The purpose of this is to provide ways for you to interact with your mentor and also ask questions, learn things in a live interactive session as well. So it's a hybrid system where there are live sessions, and then that is mixed with the self-paced programs as well. So majority of the learning you do by yourself, but you have way to get support, ask questions, get career guidance, and that's where the coaching system comes in handy. The third very important component of our system is the community, right? Which is what we're building, right? Because it's not just about so when you are learning with peers, there's a different level of energy, and you can learn things from someone else who's on the same board, or someone who has done something already, and can guide you, or just sharing that knowledge, having some sort of masterminds or weekly calls can help everyone to grow together, right? And that is where the community part comes in, which offer the purpose of the community is twofold. One is to connect and learn. Second is to seek support as well, because it's that's what we go to Stack Overflow for. So it's not always that you will come to me and ask questions. If you post questions, someone else who has experience which is relevant to that, or maybe more experience than I do have, can help, can pitch in, and can talk about a particular topic as well, right? And that is where the community model comes in very handy. So that's why we have formed this DevOps Club as a community, and all our courses, the learning revolves around that community-based model right now. Next C is the challenges. Challenges is basically to help you again. Course completion rates online, and I have been teaching online, so I definitely know about this. But course completion rates are not great when it comes to the self-paced courses alone. So how do we motivate people to complete the courses is where, in a time-based manner, is where the challenges come in. So challenges are like, I'll give you one example of challenge. Like we're building running a DevOps hackathon, which is a 10 mission program, runs over 10 weeks, and you build entire end-to-end DevOps use case in those 10 weeks. And it starts with designing on cloud for a scalable, high available infrastructure for an application. So we discuss the application in the first week, audit search designs, and have you submit those designs. The mission number 2 is where you learn or build the foundation on containers and Git, which are essential for everything else that follows. Mission number 3 is where you build a continuous integration pipeline with Jenkins, using Jenkins file, so pipeline as a code, multi-branch pipeline, Blue Ocean as a UI. So all the modern practices that we use here. Then you automate application deployment and infrastructure configuration using Ansible. Then you build high available scalable infra on cloud. We take AWS for that. Then you automate that using Terraform. Then you also go and build an advanced level of continuous integration with Jenkins, Docker, image building, publishing, etc. Then you go and deploy it on Kubernetes, automate that deployment with GitOps, like Argo CD, for example, and set up an observability system. So this is a challenge. And if you look at it, you complete mission by mission by mission. And how does it reflect and how is it run? What we are building right now is there are roadmaps that we built. All of this is based on a lot of research that has gone into it. And this is the roadmap where you start here and then you get to the next level, DevOps associate level. So let me talk about the roadmaps first. So if you talk about roadmaps, so these are the journeys and roadmaps that we are building, where you basically start on day 0 as a starter. And then in 6 months' time, you complete the hackathon, you complete a couple of challenges, and then you get to the DevOps associate or a cloud engineer level, right? And that's what is reflected on our platform. This is our actual learning platform where you can see your journey, where you are at right now, what is your next goal, and what do you need in order to complete it, right? So once you complete these challenges and tasks, you get to the DevOps associate level. From there, we have DevOps engineer level where you go through certain deep dive boot camps, etc. And that is where you also get to a career milestone in about a year. That is DevOps engineer, about 2 years, site reliability engineer, or a let's say the next level or a senior level DevOps engineer, you can call it. And about 5 years, you get into the DevOps Leadership Council, where you are either a consultant, you're an architect, you are some sort of a DevOps manager, leader, and maybe get into a training or consulting business as well, right? So it's, if you look at it, it's the long-term career roadmap that we are building for you to be a DevOps, to succeed in a DevOps profession, basically. And we're designing everything accordingly. So coming back to the challenges, there are multiple challenges which are like time-based, programs, where we have, let's say, building a 30-day system engineering challenge, where you have to complete certain tasks, and that will help you build the foundations on Linux system engineering, Linux, scripting, networking, etc. 50 days Kubernetes challenge is something that I've done in past, where there were like 9 or 10 missions to complete in order to get mastery on Docker and Kubernetes. The 90 days DevOps hackathon is what I just talked about. And that is again reflected here in this journey, in this roadmap. And you can see that it has, one of the steps is to complete the hackathon challenge, DevOps hackathon. And if you click on that, it shows you what are the tasks, what are the missions you have to complete. So you start with designing a solution, building the foundation, completing the pipeline, then comes Ansible, Cloud, Terraform, and I'm yet to add these steps right now. I'm working on it right now, but that's what you see as progress as you complete a step. For example, mission number 2 or mission number 1 is where you have to design a DevOps solution, where you have to go and complete certain parts of the courses. Then you have to submit an assignment. You have to complete a quiz, and that would help you complete the mission number 1. It will be automatically marked once you do those steps, basically. And that is what these challenges are made up of, which will help you or motivate you to complete the self-paced program. So that's going to help you motivate, keep you on track. And, we are also forming the groups related to hackathon, for example, on this platform, which you can see here. There's a DevOps hackathon group. We have about 35 members right now. We discuss things. So, while going through the hackathon, if there are any issues, and we've solved a bunch of issues this time, since the course was not updated in a while, we are fixing a lot of issues now. And those updates come in here. So, it's, if you get stuck somewhere, you get support, you work in the groups. So someone else might help, or I'm replying to a lot of these things and helping things. And we are also doing some live audits of, let's say, designs. So for example, in the week number 2, we did some design audit where there were some designs submitted. These were submitted by some of the students, and we looked at it and we discussed those so that, it benefits everyone else as well. And all of that goes into our learning archives as well. So let's say if you miss something, or if you want to go back and look at what happened in the hackathon particular session, you have the recordings available here, where, for example, this is where we did the design audits, and this is the recorded session well, that is which we did, where we talked about the designs. We built our own designs. We did some whiteboarding as well. And these are the kind of sessions that happen every week, where we discuss the design, we propose our own thing. We take up a topic and talk about
When you
it.
say AWS,
And also,
Sardis is a
learn about everyone's DevOps journeys and stuff like that. So that is what goes on in as part of the DevOps Mastery System. That is what this is based on. And the last C that we're building right now is the certification. For example, after completing these 10 missions, the next thing that I'm going to do is, once you have completed these 10 missions, you will automatically get a certificate, which you can post on LinkedIn, etc. This is going to be the entry-level DevOps Associate certificate, and Certified DevOps Associate by School of DevOps certificate, basically. And then there'll be more certifications which will be added to the next level, depending on the membership levels, etc. So this is what the DevOps Mastery System is built with, the 5 Cs, which I believe are going to help you fast track your learning process. So it's not just about another course that you're taking with the DevOps Mastery System. It is the journey that you get on, and it's a long-term 5-year journey, 6-year journey that you get on, and only if you are committed to that, right? So we don't want to offer this program to everyone. We only want to offer this to someone who is very serious about making a DevOps career. It's only for them, because if you look at it, it's you get into a long-term journey, not just something that you learn in 2 months, 3 months and be done with. That's where your journey starts, and we are building more things like masterminds, and something that when you have issues later, let's say you're on a DevOps job and you're an SRE and you are facing certain issue, you can bring it into the weekly calls, and we discuss that, and we come up with some sort of either proposal, solution, or something like that. And that's the kind of model that we want to get into. So this is the long-term game if you want to get into this DevOps Mastery System, to be honest. And we want to keep it only for the people who are really serious about their DevOps career and committed about to DevOps career, right? So that's the 5 Cs of DevOps Mastery System. Now, how do you get started with? And a lot of you have seen, I think all of this is built with a lot of research also. So last year, we went and pulled mined about 3,500 job descriptions, and we came up with if you look at the learning paths, etc., they've been built based on what is really relevant in today's market, and in for the future as well, because we're looking at the future trends too. And these are the trends we came up with, and this is from the horse's mouth. So this is actually what the companies are looking for in a DevOps professional or a site reliability engineer, because those are the positions that you can see. These are the positions we mined for, like SRE. There's a lot of SRE positions now. Now there's a confusion between people just call DevOps professional, any DevOps professional as SRE. But I believe there's a clear difference between that. But it's emerging right now. There's a bit of a confusion, but that will get solidified over the next 2-3 years, in my opinion. But if you want to make a DevOps professional profession, DevOps engineer, SRE, systems engineer, cloud engineer, these are the things that you should know about. The system engineering is the foundation, where we talk about Linux networking, scripting, troubleshooting. Everybody should know about this. Then comes the scripting. Also, scripting wise, you can pick up Bash initially, later on Python, which is relevant. So when we build the SRE path, we would include Python there, not at the beginning, because I think even if you have Bash scripting knowledge, that's going to be enough. When it comes to infrastructure as a code, Terraform is the #1 tool right now to know about, followed by Ansible, which is good to know. Then in terms of cloud, AWS is still the leading one, followed by Azure and GCP very closely. In terms of containers is the Kubernetes, and you should know about Kubernetes for sure. Docker to start with, And then there are a lot of other alternatives to Docker. And then there are managed services like AKS. Which one is the most prominent, in terms of the skill set required in the market? That's what this talks about. Continuous integration, majoritarily Jenkins is important. And then there are GitHub Actions and other things emerging as well. Deployment automation wise, you see a very clear trend towards GitOps. Argo CD, Flux CD is also part of GitOps. So there's a very clear trend to GitOps. Then we have monitoring systems, logging systems, certain SRE trends that we are tracking now, DevSecOps trends, which are important as well. So that's also, people are waking up to it now. So we do a lot of research, and all our programs are based on this. So the career paths, if you look at it, that's what we recommend. So if I want to give you a career path to be a DevOps professional, I would say build a foundation on system engineering, learn about Terraform. If you have to just pick up one tool from infrastructure as a code, it would be Terraform today. If you can, then learn about Ansible. AWS is essential. One cloud platform. Containers, there is no option. Kubernetes is a must. No topic. Continuous integration wise, we still use Jenkins for the reason that it's what you start with and then you pick up other things. GitOps is something we are including. If you look at our hackathon as well, it's part of that. Monitoring wise, observability, we have a target on that. One of the missions where you set up Prometheus Grafana on top of Kubernetes, and then we will pick up other tools, other practices. Some of these are also included in our membership right now. Some courses like DevSecOps and GitOps, but there's more that we are building. And based on this, we have created the course structures, etc., and the entire DevOps Mastery System. There are some questions that I'm going to take a little later. I see questions coming into chat, so you can paste the question in the chat. We also have people who are attending this live via YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, etc. I wouldn't be able to take your questions at this moment, but I will give you a way to send the questions later, and you can send in your questions at learn@schoolofdevops.com, and I will reply to you when I get a chance. So if you are on a live session, use this email, learn@schoolofdevops.com, to send in your queries. And if you are on the Zoom channel, you can type in your questions. I'll address those as I get a chance. Now, how do we get started with the DevOps Mastery System? What are the levels of membership that we have, and what is included in each of this? So let me talk about that. And at the end of it, I'm going to extend an offer to you, which you may want to consider, which is valid till tomorrow, the end of this month, tomorrow, that is 30th of April. So how have we structured our membership levels? Is there are 3 levels of membership that we are planning. Right now, we already have silver and gold available. Gold is what I'm going to talk about and give you an offer for today, which also includes silver. Silver is a lifetime membership. So anyone who wants to get started with our DevOps Mastery System, want to try it out, this is a perfect way to do so. And it includes everything that I talked about, the 5 C's: courses, coaching, community, challenges, certification. How and what is included in silver is courses wise, we have certain initial entry level courses and a boot camp where you're doing a entire end-to-end use case in 10 mission format. All of that is included as part of silver. So it starts with DevOps Mastery Blueprint, which is more like a simple 3-day kind of a program. You have lifetime access to all this content, but this can be finished in about 3 days. And that gives you an idea about what it takes to build a DevOps career, what skills, what practices, and how do you get started, etc. Then there is another course, which is Introduction to DevOps and SRE, which you can take if you want to understand each of these practices with some, and get an overview of it, especially if you're a leader and that's all you care about, like what are the DevOps practices, I should understand the basics. This is a good course. And this was also published on edX via Linux Foundation that I authored for. So then there is System Engineering Bootcamp, which is work in progress. So this goes along with a 30-day challenge. So this is going to help you build your skills on system engineering, like Linux networking, troubleshooting, scripting, etc. And then we have the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, along with the Essential Series courses, like the 5 essential courses like Docker, Git. These are like introductory courses on how do you get started with Docker, Git, Jenkins, Ansible, and Kubernetes. And the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp is where you actually build the use case. So you use this knowledge, you learn and use this knowledge in this bootcamp. And that is what is driven by the challenge, the hackathon that we are doing right now. And those are the 5 courses which are part of, let's say, 5 things which are part of, the silver level membership. Apart from that, we once you become a silver member, you get access to the coaching system, which includes 2 live sessions right now that we are doing every week. The first live session is about hackathon, where I teach something and you learn a topic and then you go and implement it in that week. That is the format of the hackathon, which happens every Tuesday. And every Thursday we have inner circle call. We had one day before yesterday, where we take up certain topics, or maybe I talk about a technical topic, or you have a particular topic request, you have career guidance questions, you need support with something, some course, or have a question, you can come and ask during the inner circle call. This is how you get support and interact with me live. But apart from that, you also have a community support where we have a web-based community, which is what you see here as part of this, where you can see there are forums as well, where you can come and ask questions, right? So let's say there is this particular group that we have, where people are asking questions about when they get stuck. So they also ask questions on WhatsApp majorly, but we have some discussions here as well, where people are asking questions and submitting the feedback. And then there are other forums as well, where we have questions coming in as well. So there are other forums where, if you want to provide feedback, it goes here. If you have issues, you can post it here as well. And we are trying to track and resolve everything from here, basically, right? That's how you get support. So if you want to ask questions, you can use the DevOps Club portal, which is this community portal, learning portal, basically. So apart from that, we have 4 WhatsApp groups right now. One for the announcement, second is to track the hackathon, third is to ask any questions related to DevOps. We discuss it here, general questions, and then there are opportunities. So we also want to build some platform where we are sharing the opportunities, jobs, etc. It will also be part of this platform sometime, the job section, etc. So we're building towards that, and that's the community support right now in the form of the web portal and the WhatsApp. So that covers the support and interactivity with the community, etc. The challenges wise, we have different challenges that we are designing. 3-day challenges to complete the DevOps Mastery Blueprint, 30 days to complete the system engineering foundations, and DevOps Hackathon is a 90-day challenge, which is where you build a very large use case, end-to-end use case with a microservices application, pretty sophisticated microservices application, and it's made up of 10 missions. And I'll show you the use case also. So what is part of the use case is, if you look at the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, for example, it's part of this also. It's also included as part of a hackathon, right? So hackathon is revolving around the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, which you can see from here as a course. And there is a use case that we have taken up, and we're building a, let's say, solution for that use case here. And this is the kind of use case that we are building. This is a microservices application, a typical e-commerce application with front end, catalog, cards. There's a user database. There are different databases, MySQL, Mongo, payment system, and so on. How do we implement it with DevOps practices is what we are learning. And we take a part of this. So we take 3 applications, front end, catalog, and cart, and we build everything around it, or implement all the DevOps practices around it. But you can, basically see you can actually extend that and update or use other tools, or extend that to other services as well, right? And that's the use case that we have taken up with the DevOps Bootcamp. And that is part of the hackathon. And certification, we are going to add DevOps Associate Certificate with the Silver membership. And silver membership is for the lifetime. You can take these hackathons and complete them as many times or later part of that as well. And then the next level of membership is what I'm going to give you an offer for today, is the gold membership, which has the deep dive courses really. And these are all self-paced courses. Of course, you can come and ask questions, and there'll be coaching sessions, the live weekly sessions, which you will have access to along with gold. You have lifetime member access to this. Gold, you will have access to this content for 3 years. This is going to be 2 years content, but since I have an update uh, scheduled for this year, and I'm going to update all the courses, which is going to take like about 6 months from now, for entire library to be updated. I'm extending the offer by 3 years so that you still have access to 2 years plus that 1 year of update. You'll still have to wait for a few months to compensate for that. So it has all the self-paced boot camps. These are mostly tactical courses, like mastery courses on certain topics. And what are the core topics here, which include AWS? This is going to be a cloud converted into cloud bootcamp with AWS plus Azure. That's what I plan to do. Docker bootcamp. There is Kubernetes. There is Ansible and Terraform. The 5 core boot camps, these are courses already part of Gold membership. The premium courses are the ones which I have authored and published with Linux Foundation. And it is available on my platform as well, this platform that I built and use as per our contract with Linux Foundation. And you can see these courses. For example, LFS 269 is this course offered by Linux Foundation. You can also check it on the Linux Foundation and buy it through them too. All of these courses, whatever makes sense to you. And this, for example, is the GitOps course on continuous delivery LFS 269, authored by me. You can see the ratings, and you can see what's offered. It's the same thing. In fact, I'm updating. Yeah, I'm planning to update this along with the pushing the updates to the Linux Foundation course at the same time. In the next 3 months, these courses are going to get updated. So there's a CI/CD bootcamp. There is a container-based delivery, which includes Docker, Kubernetes, certain additional topics as well, from the perspective of developers. This was designed to be developers and QA. Then the DevSecOps bootcamp, which is a fantastic course. I spent a lot of time researching the GitOps and DevSecOps, Flux and DevSecOps. There's a lot of efforts gone in. And then there are bonus courses, which are like the ones I created earlier, but these are not scheduled to be updated. Actually, the OpenShift may get updated, but Chef Puppet, I believe it's towards the end of their lives, but it's part of my library. It will be offered as is, but it will not be updated. Chef and Puppet especially. But I plan to update definitely. These are due for an update. It's been a while since I've updated. I fixed certain things in these courses. The concept still remains same. But I've pushed, for example, updates to the Terraform lab very recently. Kubernetes has been constantly updated in terms of the labs, not always the videos, but the labs you will see being updated often. I'm planning to update the entire set of videos for these in the next, that's when I said next 6 months, we have updates planned for each. But even now, you can take those and benefit out of it. The labs will be pretty up to date. The videos may be outdated a little bit here, right? But these are like detailed courses, and I'll show you what all is included in each of these courses. Before that, though, I will take some questions from the chat here. So, all right. So Pradeep asks, what if someone already have experience? Can they jump to any level? Yes, you can take up any of the courses and jump to any level. So what we plan to do in terms of the roadmap, if you are asking, what we plan to do is add some sort of an exam, let's say at the end of it. Let's say here we are adding some compliance rules, but we'll have a way to bypass it if you have experience and jump to the DevOps engineering level. And for each of this, we plan to add some exam, right? So if you want to waive it off and go to the next level, for example, or complete something that you have already knowledge on, you don't have to go through that course content. We'll have a quiz or an exam at the that can be used as a sort of a way to bypass this course and still get the credentials actually from School of DevOps actually. So we are designing it. It's still not there, but it's still in works. But we do plan to have that, where if you have experience, you should be able to jump to, let's say, the next level. Hall of Fame is, so these are the levels that we have built. Like DevOps Associate is the first level where you build the skills. DevOps Engineer is where you learn about the core skills and have some sort of a milestone, career milestone, where you get to a DevOps engineering level, or if you are already a DevOps engineer, maybe to a SRE level and so on. And that from there, we want to build a path from here to here, which will include SRE related topics where we get into advanced level of observability, chaos engineering, certain SRE practices like SLAs, SLOs, SLIs. How do you build those? How do you build the monitoring systems around it? How do we do the optimization of cost and performance? And those kind of topics we want to include here as part of courses or mastermind. We are yet to work on that. And from there to the next level, we will think about, mostly it will be a mastermind where we'll have more like a group discussions and take up certain topics and talk about it and so on, right? So that's the roadmap for me, and that's a roadmap which would be offered as part of this mastery system as well. So next question would be, please share the community link if possible. The community is closed. We are keeping this only for the members. So even if you take this, let's see what we can see. If you look at this from an incognito and logged out, way, so you can see some updates, maybe some announcements and articles, but not everything if you are not part of if you're not a member. But this is the URL in case if you want to explore the parts which are open and available for everyone. So the next question is from R. Subram is there any chance for us to get this report for reference? Sure. So this is something we're going to publish. It's not been published yet. It is on the Google Sheet right now, but we'll publish it. And that is something we can share. It's like, I'll probably send out an email with that effect so that you can look at this report and maybe share it with others as well. Since okay, the next follow-up question is, since already some sessions are done for DevOps Hackathon, can we still start now or could be late for to begin, basically, right? Yes, so we are, in terms of hackathon, we are on mission number 4, I think. So we are on the mission number, we're going to start with mission number 4. Mission number 3 is what we have completed. So how do we go about it is this hackathon, there are 2 aspects of it. One is you can still join in and complete that those parts, right? So it'll be driven by the roadmap here. You'll have access to the challenge, like I showed you somewhere here. And you can complete those tasks. And, once you have them completed, you can progress from there anyways and catch up with the next session. That's one. And we have recordings as well. So there are recordings of all the sessions that happened as part of, let's say, let me show you where. So if you look at this hackathon group, there is a hackathon course as well, which has recordings. So this is an archive of what happened during the kickoff session and the first session where we did some audits. And then talked about, I demonstrated here how do you build a Jenkins pipeline, because courses are not always up to date. There are a lot of new concepts which have come into Jenkins. So when I demonstrated this, how I build it today, we used the pipeline as a code was already there, but we used certain other things like multi-branch pipelines and using the modern UI like Blue Ocean, which comes later in this course, but I'm starting with that. So demonstrated this, and if you just follow this as well, you can get through those missions and complete those. That's one aspect of it. The second aspect is these hackathons will be run every quarter. So if you miss certain things this time, you can always catch up with those hackathon, you are going to be a lifetime member with silver. And gold also has that silver membership included. So it will basically it's going to run every quarter, so you can catch up on that later as well. So that's those are the two aspects. You can catch up even now, and you can join the hackathons later as well. Just watch, come and watch and learn, and then when you have more time, you can join and actually finish the hackathon tasks as well. How frequently the courses are up to date? This is where I will be very honest. I was struggling with this, but I have a plan already where I've already planned these courses. For example, my SLAs already, and this is also going into Linux Foundation courses. So my SLAs for that is what I'm going to start updating. These will be updated in the next 3 months, and these will be updated in probably 3 months after that. So 6 months, you'll have all the video content refreshed for these. Some courses like Chef and Puppet are towards the end of the life. I'm not maintaining those anymore, but everything else which matters, that's why I put this as a bonus courses. So that's not something I plan to update immediately, but these I plan to update and keep at least the labs. So the challenge has always been, technology moves very fast. And for example, Jenkins, there's always a change in every 6 months. You can't go and refresh the videos every 6 months. So I'm coming with some strategy where certain concepts which remain evergreen, we want to record it as a video. Everything else, we want to convert it into text, which is easy to maintain and update. So that's the plan I have. And you should see in 6 months, that is the commitment that I have, that 6 months, you will have all the courses refreshed, and it will be maintained anyways. So the labs will be updated faster than that. So is the community channel free for everyone or only available? It's only for the members now. We want to only intake people who are serious about DevOps career, and we want to keep this all members exclusive. So whatever is free is already available as part of my YouTube channel, etc. But this is going to be available for members only. That's the question from Sajir. Gautam has a question: are there DevOps projects using all the tools together? Will be quite useful? So Gautam, that's exactly what the DevOps Hackathon and the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, which is already part of Silver membership here, is. That's 90 days, 10 missions is based on the course called as Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp. It's been very, very popular. It was very, very, coveted popular course on Udemy as well. I've discontinued on Udemy. I've modified it. I'm adding more things to it. So now this year, this session, this run of the hackathon, we're also adding cloud and Terraform, which was missing, Terraform being very prominent today. So you see, this is an entire use case, end-to-end DevOps use case that you're going to be building with the hackathon. That's just one getting started part of it. When we go to the next level of membership, and there's a diamond membership which we are working on right now, it would have projects basically. So this the key part of this diamond membership which comes up in few months is the projects basically. And there are 3 different types of projects that I'm building: Nano, Mini, and Capstone. Nano projects based on the chapter, Mini project based on a topic. Chapter is like variables in Ansible, for example, or replication controller in Kubernetes. That's one chapter. So there'll be a project on that. Topic based is on Kubernetes. You deploy stuff in Kubernetes using all the components, all different ingress and deployment and stateful set and RBAC and network policies and whatnot. So those kind of projects. And then end-to-end implementation is like Capstone project, like what we have is the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp. There'll be like multi technology projects, like you deploy something on AWS cloud and do something with it, or you take the same application and build it on Azure with Azure DevOps and Azure container registry, and then using the Azure DevOps for the CI pipeline, and then you do the similar thing on GitHub Actions, so GitHub Actions and maybe some other component. So we're gonna do a mix and match, and those are the projects we're gonna build. So I'm planning to build, and I'm working towards building about 100 odd projects, and that would be basically the next level. So after you build your skills, so there are 3 things, or 2 things rather, right? So skills and capabilities. So skills is what we build with the gold membership. Skills as in how do we use Kubernetes? What is a replication controller? What is a deployment? What is a stateful set? What is a RBAC? How do you use which one, and when do you use that? That is a skill, and being able to apply that skill on a particular problem, and that's what we do during our job, right? If you really look at what we do day to day, is we've been given a problem statement to solve, and we implement or apply the skills, and and we have to know exactly what to use where and how and why, and that is the capability part. So there's a skill and there's a capability, and we are with gold membership, you will be building the deep level skills, and next level is the diamond would be where you build the capabilities. That's where we focus on the projects. We have advanced level certifications there, and there'll be some sort of a special mastermind for that, and we're building on gamification, where gamification will, parts of it will be part of gold and silver as well, but there'll be more advanced level certifications that we are building for the diamond level as well, right? So that comes in the next few months, but right now we're just focusing on gold. So we started with silver a few months ago. uh, Now I'm launching gold, and in few months we would go and start with diamond as well, step by step. So the focus for me, and the reason why I'm not launching it right now, is my focus right now is to make sure that all these courses are updated first and refreshed before we go to the next level, and start offering more things, right? So that's the reason we are doing it step by step and taking it slower. All right, so that answers the question by Gautam about projects. Pradeep has a question: will the courses labs not break if not updated for a while? It may, but we are fixing it as we go. For example, when we are doing the hackathon, we are already fixing, I've already fixed few labs already. For example, there was a problem with the setup because Jenkins version had updated. There was a problem with one of the application, a Java application, for which the code was not pulled from the upstream for a while, because we depend on certain open source projects for our use cases as well. So those things are being fixed, and pushed. The changes are being pushed as and when we see those issues and detect those issues. And you can actually see, let me show you that here. So just two of the issues which were fixed very quickly, very recently. One of that, it takes time and efforts to maintain this, yes. So we work on fixing it. So there was a problem here where this build was breaking for this Java application because of multiple things actually, and that has been fixed just yesterday, and we're doing that. So I'm committed towards making sure that things are working and smoother. It is not perfect, but it will happen. That's why my focus has been to fix the issues as we see them, and start updating things, and only then go to the next level, right? So setup is also updated, for example. So we are updating things. So setup has been updated with a new thing, so that it doesn't break for you and stuff. So that's what has been happening. And that's why I'm giving also an extended period of membership for gold, for example. Instead of keeping it 2 years initially, we're extending it by 3. So R. Subram has the next question. That is what he told. We are growing a microservices-based project in Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, which uses all the tools. Okay, that was an answer to the previous question. Anything on Azure DevOps? Right now, I have one part which is on Azure DevOps. So I think it is the Windows Container course uses Azure DevOps. It is a .NET-based application. And there are 2 different ways we are building it on Windows-based containers and deploying it with Azure DevOps. So there's small part of Azure DevOps, but rest will be part of the projects actually. So as I mentioned to you, the projects will be like you take something, deploy it on Azure, and integrate with Azure DevOps for CI/CD and stuff like that. So that's something we will add as a project. And the AWS Bootcamp will become a cloud bootcamp where it will have an AWS plus Azure. That's what I'm following for my trainings as well. And I deliver trainings on cloud. We call it as a cloud workshop or a bootcamp. It's on a similar lines where we build something on AWS and have it be deployed in the same way on Azure as well. So that's when AWS bootcamp will become a cloud bootcamp in the next few months. All right, so Subram has a question. If I take silver membership, can I upgrade to gold? Yes, there is upgrade path. So people who want to take gold membership, if you are a silver member, you have an upgrade path. Or if you start with silver right now, you can upgrade to gold as well. So that is there. So whatever, based on whatever offer at that point of time, you will have an upgrade path. Whatever the price and offer at that point of time, there'll be an upgrade path. There's a question: live weekly sessions entertains any challenge we may face during any course? Yes, of course. So you can bring in any questions related to any of the courses, and we will entertain those during the live sessions, the weekly session, the inner circle call specifically. We can take up any of these questions. In fact, in the last this Thursday's week session, we talked about a bunch of things related to Docker builds and questions related to Docker, let's say Docker files, etc., and explained a bunch of things. And all of this is available or goes as part of our vault here. There's an archive, so you can look at what went on in the last inner circle session here. I'm not adding notes to everything, but I'm trying to follow that practice where we have notes added so that you know exactly what happened during the inner circle calls. And there are recordings available. So recordings will be available, for all the live sessions, so that you can go back, because a lot of questions may already be answered in the inner circle calls. So it will always be there for you to go and check what happened during the last sessions. Pradeep has a question: will my current School of DevOps account move to the new platform? Well, if you were part of the current setup where you have access to members.schoolofdevops.com, if you were a paid member, your account would have been already migrated. If that has not happened, you drop me an email and it would be done, basically. So based on what level of membership you had, or what kind of courses that you have taken or bought, based on that, we have tried to match you to the closest possible membership, silver or gold. We are keeping only the membership level now, not individual courses. So there were other things like ninja packs, and there were certain people got through certain other promotional offers and stuff like that through tech toolbox and whatnot. So we have already migrated you to the new portal. Anyone who had joined to access the free content, that would not be migrated, because as I told you, we're going to keep it only for the members, paid members only, this new portal. And it will be exclusively members portal from now onwards. So you have to start with silver or next level in order to get started and get access to the new portal. So if you have certain paid content purchased on the previous platform, do write me. So what is the offer that we're offering right now? So offer is valid till tomorrow, and I'm going to offer only for the gold right now. The list prices for silver and gold are these as of now. And this is for the 3 years, for example, USD 497. And as part of the promotion, right now, we are offering it at the price of 299. And if you want to make that transaction, you can scan and pay this QR code. And I'm going to share this offer code with you on the chat as well. So for the gold, this is the offer. And I'm splitting this into two. I'll share the two URLs. One is the Stripe URL, the one I'm sharing, which is available to everyone across the globe. And if you are in India and want to use your UPI and debit cards and the local cards, etc., you can take or use this particular link. I'm sharing it through the chat. Anyone who is watching this live and want to get started with this membership, become a member, drop me a message on, let's say, this particular email address, and I'll share it there, or come back and watch, come back to the same live session URL, and you may find a link there basically, which would be available till tomorrow. So if you want to get started with gold membership, this is a fantastic offer right now. And if you are already a silver member, I have already shared the offer with you. But if you haven't received it, do write to me and I will make sure that you get that offer, the upgrade offer, that is, right? It's already been shared in your email. It is there in your mailbox. So just check it first. The upgrade offer I'm talking about. But otherwise, if you want to get started with gold, you have this offer, which is available till tomorrow, expires tomorrow. Gautam has a question. Are there any DevOps interview preparation modules and mock interviews? So we will do that as part of the inner circle call. So mock interviews, for example, or anything related to interviews. So we did some use cases. We discussed some use cases which were brought in by some of our students, which were given as part of the interviews. And we had the privilege of talking about those use cases. And we did talk about it, and that would help you prepare for towards the interviews. So we take up all these kind of topics, different topics during the inner circle calls. And whatever works or is going to be helpful for you in terms of the DevOps career, we are open to add the content related to that, right? So that's the commitment from my side. That's the agenda, basically. So the whole point is we are trying to build a holistic system. So whatever is needed, we will do that. I do have plans. I don't want to disclose it right now, but I do have plans from the career, career and jobs section point of view, where it would help you once you go through the program. It would help you to get land up with opportunities, but that will take some time, and I'm gonna start working with the partners, etc., for that to happen. So when that is available, or before, when it is planned and solidified, it would be disclosed basically. So, but that's the direction we are working in overall. So anything which is going to help you to build your DevOps career. That's the commitment. That's the single point agenda basically that we have at School of DevOps. Everything that we do is with the goal of helping you build and enhance your DevOps career. And that's the whole point. That's what I want to dedicate my life to. That's my life goal. All right, so that's about it. I can see Ansible AWS, but not able to see anything related to monitoring. That is what Amol says. Yes, it is not there yet because we are building those, let's say, paths step by step. What is there and what will be there? I'll tell you what is there already. Let's say if I'll show you some, give you some glimpses of what is included in the current courses. And that will answer some of these questions as well. For example, if you look at the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, this is a Kubernetes Bootcamp. Let's say this is for the CI/CD. So I'm going to show you what is part of the Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp. So the monitoring part is there, but it's not as prominent as it should be. We will add it as part of a SRE path later, DevOps to SRE path. But you do see there is a monitoring part where we are adding Prometheus and Grafana and those kind of things. And that's part of one of our missions as well, as part of the DevOps Bootcamp and the DevOps Hackathon. But a detailed course on the monitoring is not there yet. That is what we want to add for the SRE path. That's what is there in right now Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, which is part of our let's say hackathon as well. Is you starts with a DevOps story. We build a use case. We discuss a fictional organization that I've created along with the design and the application code and so on, which has been inspired from an open source application, modified version of that. And then it starts with a Docker. You set up the environment, you learn enough of Docker, build the basics on Docker and Git. Basically, it will point you to, there's some treasure hunt, so just a fun activity. Then comes the Git, then comes the Jenkins, the essential part of it. Then you implement it in the project, right? How do you build a continuous integration pipeline? That's where we are at right now in terms of the hackathon progress as well. Then you go and deploy with infrastructure as a code, Ansible here. Then it will divert a little bit to cloud, which is the content that I'm adding to this, along with let's say Terraform. After that, you come back and enhance the continuous integration pipeline by implementing trunk-based development model, code reviews, and stuff like that. Then use Docker in Jenkins. So you build that CI/CD based on Docker. Then you go and deploy it on Kubernetes. Then you deploy stuff with initially we had I think let's say Spinnaker, but we are replacing the Argo CD now. So that will happen as well. And this is part of our Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, but there are many other courses. For example, Kubernetes Bootcamp has some interesting stuff here. And this is a very detailed course on Kubernetes, quite a detailed course on Kubernetes. It will also help you prepare towards the certification. It's not a complete certification course, but it will definitely help you prepare towards certifications like CKA, CKAD. It starts with concepts, then let's say how do you set up an environment, what are pods. So you will find that all the courses include some sort of a project, and then each of this follows a certain methodology where we do step-by-step learning. So I don't talk about everything at the same time. We take a project and break it down into components so that you start with one concept at a time, starting with pods. You learn to write the YAML code here. You learn what is a pod, how do you run containers in Kubernetes. That's the unit of deployment in Kubernetes. You then make it high available and scalable using replication controller. Then you add services. Then you talk about deployments. Then we talk about configuration management, config maps and secrets. Then the persistent volumes. So this is where persistent volumes, PV, PVCs, RBACs for that. And then storage classes and all that come in. Then we create some additional release strategies, talk about ingress controllers, talk about auto scaling, network policies. How do you set up a production grade high available cluster? This is where I talk about Spray, which brings in Ansible as well. RBAC policies, advanced pod scheduling. So these are some advanced topics which will help you with certification as well. HEM. So HEM, I want to upgrade with writing a HEM chart. Right now, we're just using HEM to deploy something. But how do you build the HEM chart? We want to include that as well. So this is just one course that I'm talking about. And each of this course is about 15 hours of content, which will translate into 3 weeks of learning easily, because this is a very compressed, distilled content for you. So this is Kubernetes Bootcamp, for example. And we use some effective technologies like, for example, in Kubernetes, we have something called as a visualizer, which is very, very useful for understanding how you're deploying applications anywhere. This video, let me try and refresh. It might be here. How is it getting deployed, the application? So you can see it visually, and you will actually set up this kind of a visualizer when you are learning Kubernetes as well. In the previous lesson, forward it to, we've created the spec for deploy. So you can see the visualizer on the right-hand side, and while deploying, you in this one, see update for the same. So you can see how things are getting deployed here, right? So all of that. Seasons. You see that new replica set, it has now, 15. So you can actually see how things work by using these kind of, so my focus has always been what can be done in terms of the best use of technology and how do you simplify learning. And that's what you will see as part of all of these courses. This is Kubernetes course. And then this is a DevSecOps course where you're actually it's a very sophisticated course where you start with a simple DevOps pipeline. This is actual course content. So you start with a DevOps pipeline, which is like build, test, and package. And then you add stages which are relevant from DevSecOps perspective. And you will actually end up building a pipeline like this and more actually. There are more stages than this, but right from how do you scan your repository if you have accidentally added any credentials to that, that happens here. Then the static analysis stage has, you check, of course, they run the unit test, but you also do the software component analysis. A lot of our software is just dependencies in terms of libraries that we bring in, for example, Python libraries, Node modules, and so on. So do these libraries and dependencies have any vulnerabilities? We're checking that here. SAST is about the static analysis of software here. And then we are checking the licenses as well. So when we bring in open source software, it has to comply with our organizational policies as well. So certain licenses we don't want to use and avoid. So, you're checking that here. You generate SBOM is software bill of materials. So what are softwares being included? You generate the report based on that. You integrate it with other tools where you see the report, and that is what is happening here. That is static analysis. Then we package the application. Then we do container image. So this is the container-based delivery. So how do we analyze the image linting for best practices? Are we using best practices while writing Docker file or not? Image scan is like vulnerability scan. What is in the image? Is there anything vulnerable, including the base image and all that? So that happens here. Then you deploy. Then you do a dynamic analysis where you run something like a penetration testing, and you run. One is you learn how to deploy things securely. Plus, you learn how to run the dynamic security tests and penetration tests using like OWASP, ZAP. So, we have different tools here, and this is a use case which builds like this and a little more actually. And you can see that here. So it starts with the supply chain, software component analysis, the SAST, then auditing container images. Then it's about DAST, dynamic application testing. How do we also deploy securely? System security auditing. So how do you do compliance checks and also solve those issues? So we have a combination of tool like Inspect and Ansible. Inspect to do the scans, Ansible to solve the issues automatically using the system hardening and all this OS hardening playbooks that Ansible already has. How do we secure Kubernetes deployment is very interesting as well. So how do we comply and use some of the best practices while deploying applications with Kubernetes? How do we manage secrets with Vault? Vault is one of the most commonly used secrets management tool. How do we integrate that with Kubernetes? How do we do runtime security monitoring and remediation is where this is the next level thing where it is monitoring your runtime environment with Kubernetes using system calls. There's a tool called as Falco, which does that. And then that integrates, that detects the anomaly. And that anomaly can be someone getting a root access on a shell inside a container running in Kubernetes. So if that kind of a activity is detected, it can be then dangerous. So what action do you take? You automatically have that be evicted. So that pod or a container gets deleted automatically and is replaced by deployment with a new one, fresh one. So if there is an attack in progress, it detects that using system calls, very sophisticated, and also takes some actions in an automated way, which is the next level thing. When I built it myself, I was really surprised and amazed to see what all can you do today with the technology and that is available today, right? That's DevSecOps. GitOps has, there's a course on GitOps called as GitOps with Flux 269. That is this one. So this builds some interesting use case as well. So I'll show you what all we are building with that, right? And it's pretty sophisticated the way you can create some sort of a deployment. Right, so I'll show you what is part of this particular course on GitOps. And this is already included in this membership course as well. So is there a question? Yes, go ahead.
Are you providing assignments too? So for practice?
Yes, so we provide labs and there are assignments, but the projects, we are going to add a little more on the projects in the Diamond membership. But right now, when you build this, it's not just you watch the course and forget about it. You're actually building this along with me using the labs. There are certain assignments, but it's mostly the labs where you build this yourself. So whatever I'm demonstrating, you are actually building it yourself, and you will actually get an opportunity to do that practically. So that's part of the labs.
And one more question.
Yep.
Um, are you planning to record the sessions like troubleshooting part like Jenkins, Git, and Docker or Kubernetes, whatever,
Sure.
Ansible?
That makes sense. So I already have some topic on troubleshooting Kubernetes as part of the course, but yes, so it does make sense to take up troubleshooting sessions and record those as well. So maybe as part of our inner circle calls, or maybe separate troubleshooting sessions where you can bring in a problem and we can troubleshoot live, and we can record those sessions. So I do plan to do that, honestly, yes. And yeah, it does make sense. So that can be helpful.
And all the courses are, when did you record? It
So
means is up to date, everything is, like few years back you recorded all these courses.
most of these courses have been recorded over years, actually, starting with, I think I would say 2018 onwards. I've started recording these courses and publishing those. And some of
18,
those have been,
18 means almost 5 years, right?
right, that's right.
So many things are updated.
Yes, so I have revamped Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp a year ago, for example. So I published it about 5 years ago, but that has been redone with the relevant components last year, for example,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Kubernetes, not everything is updated. Every single video has been updated. And that's when I said I have an update schedule for planned for the next 6 months, where the first thing that I'm going to do is update the labs. Because labs are most important, because the concepts don't change. For example, if you look at my Terraform course, I have just updated, again, I published it 3-4 years ago. I have updated all the labs a month, 2 months ago, where labs, if you watch the videos,
Mhm.
you're going to see the concepts are same. The way you do things has changed slightly, and that is part of the labs. Now, that has also been my challenge. I can't update all the videos for all the sessions every 6 months. So that is where I'm taking a newer approach, where the evergreen content, for example, what you see on the screen is evergreen content, because this is concepts. So, but when I start demonstrating, those things keep on changing every few months. So when you make a change in the, I'm taking a newer approach where I'm updating, I'm refreshing these courses this year. When I do that, I'm going to add more of a text content for the practical part, which keeps on changing, where we can update that every quarter or so. But what is evergreen? For example, if you take Kubernetes, um, the concept of pod, replication controllers, services, deployment, none of that is changed. But the way you deploy it, certain spec, certain commands have changed. So that is part
Mhm.
of the practical activities. So the concepts are evergreen. Concepts, if you look at it from the 5 years and today, they are same in all the courses. The labs are different. And that is what my goal is, to update first and fix those things. And while that is being done, I'm going to add more topics which are more relevant today. So if you look at a lot of courses like Ultimate DevOps, even let's say Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp, updated, created 5 years ago, updated last year, but still there are things which are breaking, which we are updating with the hackathon. So every hackathon you'll see a new update going into that particular bootcamp, and then every quarter to 6 months, I want to go and check the labs for, or have someone go and keep the labs up to date. And that's when we are trying to take a newer approach, where the labs and the text components will be in flux. They'll be updated every now and then. But the videos which are difficult to update, will we're gonna reduce that to the concept level, where it is important to explain those concepts through videos. That will happen through videos. So that's the approach I want to take to the next, when I update it next. So my update schedule is this, as I told you here, with these courses that are part of Gold. I want to be very honest about it. So these have not been updated. Like every single thing has not been updated. So my schedule for this has already been something that I have committed to. This is let's say May 23. I've already given the the timelines for these, where this is May, June, July. And then along the same lines, I want to go and start updating these courses. So in about 6 months, you should see all these being refreshed,
Okay.
with the new video and the new approach, where it is more sustainable to maintain and easier to maintain as well.
Is the last question.
Yeah.
If I take a gold membership, how many times you gonna interact with me per
Uh,
week?
2 times a week is what we already have. That is, when you get gold, you get silver membership for lifetime. Gold is for 3 years, silver is lifetime. So you will be interacting with me, every week anyway. So that is part of your silver initial level membership, always.
Okay. Is one of my friends has, actually suggested you. That's why I came to this one.
I appreciate that you're here, uh, to be honest. And yes, so once you start to be part of a membership, you will be interacting with me very often. And then we are trying to create more channels. This is more like a live interaction, right? But a lot of times it is a simple question that you have, which you can post on a WhatsApp group, and we are answering it there. So I'm answering. If not, someone else who has knowledge can answer. So we want to build more of a community, where we are interacting and helping each other as well. And there are people in this community who come with a good amount of experience as well, and they are also willing to share their knowledge. So it's not just me that I want you to be dependent on. We want to take a more of a community approach, which can possibly translate into long-term professional relationship, possibly, right? Who knows?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate.
Like I had a quick question, right? So many times basically we follow something, or we go through the courses which are good for kind of basic to intermediate, right? But
Correct.
sometimes we lack in getting the production grade implementation. So do
Absolutely.
you have any courses which covers the production grade implementation?
What happens is there is no way you can just cover this in with just courses, because what happens is these are more like courses can teach you certain thing in a structured manner. And when you are actually going beyond that, it's mostly, oh, you have some issue, and you want to fix it. And mostly it's about understanding the issue and environment and fixing it, implementing something. And that is where we want to bring in the project. So courses alone, in my opinion, would not help there. So we want to bring in projects. So something like doing projects and demonstrating those, working them on these projects as a group in an unstructured format, where I'm not giving you the solution, but we form the groups and we work on it, is what I think would be more effective way of learning, where other members of the group can contribute, or I can help you fix the issues in certain certain environments and all that. So that's when we are trying to build the project. So courses alone, I believe, will not just be the solution for this, in my opinion, as of now, as I think. And that's why we want to bring in the projects of different types and categories, which mimic the real world production. Like it won't be a real world production environment always, because when we talk about production environments and real world, we're talking about scale, we're talking about live traffic, not always easy to replicate, but we'll try to get as close to that, at least from a troubleshooting point of view, and so on. So that's what the plan is. And that's when we want to do this step by step. So you build the skills, and then you build the capabilities. The capabilities is where this question comes from, where you're actually capable of delivering anything in production. And two things which will help, in my opinion, in addition to the courses, of course, which will have the foundation, the projects and some sort of masterminds, which we want to include in the of course the diamond level, where we want to include both some sort of a mastermind where we bring in these issues and talk about it, or take up bring in experts and help us with certain topic and so on. So that's the plan for the next level of memberships. So but initially you'll have to build the skills in order to get to the level where you are able to deliver.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav. Actually, my this is very nice kind of vision you have, right? But actually, my question was more in relation to say that we're doing a course, right? So course means we should be knowing the right design pattern to implement. I'll take a simple example of say implementing CI/CD pipeline and setting up Jenkins, right?
Okay.
That we should be setting up Jenkins in a way that it goes in production environment. For example, it will be having master and slaves, right? Multi slaves.
Correct.
Then multiple multi branch pipelines, right? Basically then cloud agnostic implementation, right? So I'll take like this example of CI/CD took, right? For example, say for like monitoring also, right? Then we should be talking about like say application log monitoring, APM, right? Then one is infra monitoring, right? So those concepts, if we are clear, then only we can go in capabilities area. So my question was more towards the course which is capable of delivering this kind of knowledge to
Sure.
an individual, which can be baked into later the capabilities.
Understand. So whatever can be converted into the skills, we will do that. So that's when we have the next level path, right? So from a DevOps engineer to a senior DevOps engineer or SRE path is where we want to bring in more of these content where we're doing chaos engineering, optimizations, thinking about scale. But if you have any topic request, I'm willing to take it. So if you just put it into words and send it over to me, I'll keep it as my next level thing in either of this based on where it fits in, we will try to include it. So it does make sense. So if anything can be taught as a skill, we will include it as that. But beyond that, we'll add more of a projects. So that's the thought process. Yes.
Gaurav, I have a question about the gold membership. The gold membership, we have a 3 years valid, right? During a 3 years valid, the open source will come with different versions and different tools or
Right.
different dimension and different model comes, right? So how can we, standard pattern is there. I can understand that point with your courses, but if you go forward, think about after 3 years, within 3 years, what's going to happen. So how do we adopt on that? How it will be helpful for the gold membership members?
So whatever changes with the core topics that are part of the gold membership, let's say CI or CI, how do you do continuous integration today, right? That may change a little bit here and there. So there are some new things which have been added with Jenkins, for example, and that includes the multi-branch pipeline by default. There's a pipeline as a code. Earlier, Jenkins, you used to build the pipeline with so initial version of my Ultimate DevOps Bootcamp also had the same method where we were building everything by hand, connecting those into a pipeline and creating it that way. Now, what has changed is today you write everything as a pipeline, as a code. So we have taken an approach where the course has updated and modified to adopt to that method where we write Jenkins files and integrate it with Jenkins, use the newer UI that's catered to pipelines alone. And that's where, when I showed you the DevSecOps pipeline, that's a newer UI. And that has changed in the course. So whatever changes with the core content, we would modify it accordingly. And we track those changes through the skills report and whatnot, which we already are aware of things. So for example, the other example I can give you is the GitOps and deployment. When I first authored my CI/CD course, we had Spinnaker as the tool for deployment that we are replacing with Argo CD now. And that is because of the changes in the industry as well, right? So those kind of changes we will adopt into any of the content which is already part of here, right? But anything that there might be additional topics which may get added to the gold as well, based on what is relevant that year and so on. So what I see is relevant today are these 5 practices: cloud, CI/CD. CI CD can be combined into one or can be 2 different practices: containers. There is infrastructure as a code and observability. And that's what we want to focus on at this point of time. And however it changes, we will change accordingly. And then we'll have additional paths also later point of time. So from DevOps engineer to SRE, and from SRE to, let's say, something else. So if it is part of a skills or a course, we will already add it to the gold membership here. The course part will be added to the gold. Anything which is part of a project or whatever can go into the next level of membership.
All right. Cool. Another question about is there is any added advantage on the best practices or else standard pattern or strategic way when you work on the project initial phase to implement? For example, if you come across when the project kicks off, the project teams or project management teams, then you can get in there to understand the customer requirement, and then you start working on the design to end you can work, right? So is there is any chance you work on the best practices or else content what you have worked based on the business requirement, you can put in this cloud gold membership, or else it will not be included in that?
So right now it is mostly tactical courses which are part of the gold membership, to be honest, and we want to keep it that way. We if there is any if there are any best practices or anything, we want to typically take it up as some sort of a discussion, either by bringing in the experts and interviewing them, or doing it as part of an inner circle call or something on those lines is what I'm thinking right now. So I'm not planning to add any course related to that, because I will not be able to really structure it in that right way, probably, because it's going to be very ad hoc situation where we're talking about a certain situation and a practice or something like that. But all the tactical knowledge is going to be part of the gold membership, where we're talking about the tools and technologies, that how you implement it and so on, is what is been included here, and that's what we plan to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally understand. So you worked on your recordings, and you say 2018 or your experience you recorded, right? But there is some requirement on that time. So there is some specific requirement on the designs or something is there, right? So I just want to understand what is the purpose when you started deploying on the project. It's not on the training material. There is some content is there, right? Reason is there. You want to deploy Kubernetes and Docker as a top of that, all the observability points. And it's kind of a entire stack I'm talking about. So if there is no scope on that, you directly just only focusing on the learning phase, that's fine. Or else there is any content, we have to bring it as per the best practices or strategic way. We have to start this deployment for learning phase to share the knowledge to everyone. Is there something you vision like that, or else just go through on the learning phase only? Do you understand my question?
Not completely, to be honest. So can you rephrase this question to, what exactly would your expectation be? So you're talking about a course in part of a gold membership where we add some of the best practices while designing or approaching any problem statement in DevOps, or is there anything else that I'm missing here?
No, that's the one I'm looking for it.
Okay, so as far as some of these, like for example, when we take up DevOps Hackathon, one of the things that we start with is discussing the use case and the problem statement, and how do we approach it from a perspective of a DevOps practitioner and a DevOps architect. And that, in a bit, it's not a very detailed discussion, but that small discussion on that is added as part of a course. But that's what we have. Apart from that, most of these, if you look at, let's say Kubernetes or Docker, any of these bootcamps that you take, we take up a use case, but we don't go into like a design part of too much, or best practices part as too much. But it's more about take up a use case and we have to build a Kubernetes cluster and deploy this application with these features or whatever. And that is what we break down and take up as learn as a tactical knowledge. That's what the courses here have been structured as, and the content here structured.
Yeah.
Gaurav, each bootcamp, how many sessions are there?
So these are all modules-based, self-paced programs, and each of this has different number of between 10 to 15 modules or chapters you will find in each of this, basically. Each of the bootcamp has that much of content, actually. And each of the content is, if you look at just the recordings, which are edited recordings, those are about an hour's worth of, so about 15 to 20 hours of, on an average, I would say 15 hours of content for each of this bootcamp easily. That can translate into like 3 weeks of learning probably for each bootcamp. Let's just take Terraform bootcamp or Ansible bootcamp, right? And you will see, let's take one of this. Let's say Ansible Mastery. So what do you start with is there are probably 15 modules here, and you start with like very essentials of what is Ansible. Then there's always a environment setup part. Then we learn about the concepts related to Ansible. This is where you start actually practicing Ansible by installing it and connecting to the servers and doing some ad hoc server management. Then you learn to write the playbooks, simple playbooks. So we do iterative learning. So initially we just write playbooks. Then we start adding roles, where roles are like modules, or roles are like cookbooks in Chef and stuff like that, right? So that's a reusable code. We write initially just a simple role, but then we add variables and templates, make it more dynamic and shareable. Then we start using the roles from Ansible Galaxy, which is where your roles are shared. Like open source code is available. Then we learn about like controlling the execution. So more advanced level of roles that we write, add conditionals and stuff, control structures. We talk about auto discovery, like working with multiple environments and stuff. How do you integrate Ansible with Vault? How do we do application deployment? This is like my original work that I also published with my book and stuff like that. So you'll see probably 10, 15 modules here, and each of that is about 1 hour worth content recorded. But when you actually do it, it will translate into 3-4 hours of work easily, each of this. So that's
Gotcha.
that's the kind of content and depth that you will see with each of these bootcamps. So these are deep dive sessions on each of these topics, basically.
Gaurav, one question: if we are purchasing the gold membership today, can we see what is the date which it is going to expire in the portal?
That's not available right now. That would be based on your member. So only thing that we are able to do, and this is a new platform that we're building, and I was trying to look for that feature. When it becomes available in my platform and the backend tool that I'm integrating with, it would be available for you, and we'll try to figure that out. But right now, as the things stand, once you become a member, it basically adds you as a member with a particular duration of time. And that's all is there. So there is no visibility into when your membership expires exactly as of now. So that's why we kept silver membership as lifetime. Initially, we wanted to keep gold membership as a lifetime as well. But this uses a lot of hosting in the backend in terms of the video content and the platform, the entire platform, and all the tools that we are integrating. There are a lot of costs associated with it, so we wanted to make it viable as well long terms. So that's why we decided to keep it as a time-based manner. So that's the idea. Right now, there is no direct way where you can see the membership when it expires, but in future, we would work to make that something available for you.
Sure, but actually you said whenever someone is onboarded, they will be onboarded behind the scenes, like in some database or something, where they will be onboarded with the date where it will be tracked, right? When the membership is going to get over.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So can we, like, if a person is getting onboarded, can they know personally by reaching out to you to check whether
that is always possible, because we have that in the backend.
Okay.
When your membership started and when it expires. I'm talking about you by yourself finding it from
in the platform directly.
Yeah, that is not possible right now, but we want to work on that, or maybe add a plugin where that is available.
Yeah, got it. It was a great session. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. By the way, I think there was a question about which tool I'm using here for the presentation. It's the MindNode. This is a mind mapping tool, basically. So these are the mind maps. These are called as mind maps. And this is how our brain actually thinks, that you can actually add your ideas. And generally, I use this for
URL here, where it's essentially,
and it's called as MindNode. The tool. There are many mind mapping tools, by the way. This is called as MindNode. That's the one I use.
Gaurav, one quick question, last question I was having in mind. So you have many courses. So do we have any kind of segregation that if somebody has, say, basic experience in DevOps 1 year or 2 year, or somebody have 3 to 4 year experience, they can go with this course? Or do you have any roadmap of the courses which
that's
in which
good
order?
question, and that's what we want to build here. That's why we moved to a new platform which gives us a roadmap. So when you log into the platform, you see the roadmap, and you go from one level to another. Let's say you are starting, you will go start with the associate level and start with the initial things like system engineering and complete the DevOps hackathon, which is like the this use case building and all that. And then you go to the next level, which is more about getting into these boot camps, like core courses, like including containerization, AWS, Terraform, Ansible, and stuff like that. So that is your path from DevOps associate to DevOps engineer. Let's say you are a DevOps engineer already, and you go on to get to the next level, maybe a SRE or a this is equivalent to SRE or a next level of DevOps engineer, like a senior engineer or a principal engineer, or you can call it whatever you want. But that is where we want to build the next level of path, where we would say you take Python, you would take DevSecOps at this point of time, dive into certain other topics, and that's what we are building. So there's a roadmap that we are building, which takes you from one level to the next one, and based on which level you're at, we will create some way to have you jump to that level, let's say this level, and from there you go to the next one and the next one and so on. So that's the goal for us to build the roadmaps for.
Gaurav, like, do we have courses already in place? The roadmap need to be only built, or you need to also build the courses? For example, somebody want to understand what it takes to become principal DevOps engineer, or what it takes to become a DevOps architect. So do we have the courses already?
We don't have the courses yet. We don't have the courses yet. It will be built after. So my goal is to first refresh this, and it's going to happen step by step. So this will get refreshed. Some courses are there. For example, for a DevOps engineer, I keep the core 5 practices: the cloud, containers, Terraform.
Gaurav, sorry for disturbing.
Yeah.
Are you going to update all these core one within 6 months or 3 months?
3 months is the ones which you see here. That is my already committed schedule.
Okay.
Right? And the next 3 months, it will take me to update this. If I have to update the videos, so these are fairly recent. So I'm going to push the lab changes. So if it happens earlier than that, that is the maximum commitment I've taken based on some buffer time and all that. But that's what my current commitment is. And then I have already updated certain things. For example, Kubernetes, all the labs are up to date because I keep running this as my part of my training. Terraform, all the labs are up to date, but I want to do the videos as well. Again, one more time, I want to do the videos wherever it is relevant. And that part will take time. Videos generally take time. But I want to update, this in maximum of 6 months. That's the including the buffer time I want to take. So I don't want to commit that I will do it in 3 months when it is not possible. But I want to take time and update all of this content properly, and with with this, with the long-term vision that it is maintainable as well.
Yeah, why I'm asking, we need job, right? That's why we don't want to wait for 6 months or 8 months, right?
No, you don't have to wait. Basically, you can still get started. There are certain things which you may have to work around, like there's something new and maybe something is breaking. That's when you'll have to wait for me to fix it. So Kubernetes wise, it will all work. Terraform wise, with the labs, it will all work. The concepts wise, or the videos, the only difference you will see here is mostly there are some new concepts, but otherwise it's mostly about what you see in the video is not exactly how you do the labs. The concept still remains same because the way you write modules, in Terraform as well, you have a concept of modules, you have a concept of providers, you have provisioners, and all those remain same. It's just that I'm doing it the new way with the new version of Terraform. Is what you'll see in the lab versus what you see in the videos will be slightly different. So there'll be some inconsistency in what you see and what you are running. That's main difference right now. And there are some things which are breaking, which I'm fixing anyways on a priority.
Got you. Thank you.
So it's not like you will be stuck for the next 6 months and only then you can start. You can still start. For example, instead of Docker and Kubernetes, I recommend you start with LFT 254, which has a newer content, refreshed content, plus the labs for Kubernetes have been updated. Terraform labs have been updated. So it is some interconnection there as well. So AWS Bootcamp is something I want to redo completely. But even then, the fundamental concept about VPC and things don't change. So that still remains as is.
Mhm.
That's that.
Thank
Yeah, but if you're planning to just focus on Chef and Puppet and those topics I don't have to, I'm not going to update it.
Yeah, but many organizations are not using Chef and Puppet, right? You know,
Exactly.
percent
Exactly.
of
So that's the end of life. In my opinion, future wise, it's not future oriented technologies. So whatever is relevant today and for future, and we have a lot of data around it. It's not just what I'm saying. We do have a lot of data, including this that you see that, this picture has changed multiple times. And I have published this report in 2016, 14, and you would have seen completely different picture at that time for, let's say, infrastructure as a code. At one point of time, these two would have looked like Chef and Puppet. Everything else, Ansible was somewhere here. And you see that here now, it took over everything else at somewhat of time, but now Terraform is doing that. So we keep track of what is changing. And from that perspective as well, this is just legacy purpose that you see these two boxes here, Puppet and Chef. And there are certain use cases where it matters even today, but mostly with container-based delivery and things changing, Terraform is important, Ansible is important. So we want to make sure that whatever takes priority, whatever is more important, we focus more on that and add more weightage towards that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Awesome. So thank you very much. Unless there are any further questions, we will do a wrap. I'm just going to talk about something interesting in one of the course that you will learn as part of Gold as well. And that is, okay, so that was the mind node, by the way. There's another tool that I use for my presentation, even in my trainings. And this is also part of my courses when I explain. This is called as an explainer, and I use an iPad for it. So this is a canary release. So when you want to do release management and release strategies, right? There are many release strategies like zero runtime deployment, progressive canaries, blue-green release, also called as red and black, some places. So what we do here, and this is a progressive canary release, and this is something which is very interesting with GitOps. That's why I said initially we were using something like Spinnaker, but now we use GitOps. Why? Because it allows you to do something like this. Now, what is a canary release? With canary, you test in production with a subset of your customers or part of your infrastructure, right? So how does it work is, in this case, this is a deployment with containers on Kubernetes, where we have Nginx as an ingress control. This is like a load balancer, where the requests come in and it goes to a deployment and a service behind it. It's called an application called as a vote. This is the primary release. This is where all my traffic is going to. Now, how do I test it? By sending 20% of the traffic to a new release, new version, is where you start deploying or rolling out a new version, right? And then you have tools for setting up the canary release. For example, the Flux CD, which is one of the GitOps tools, along with a tool like Flagger, which is a release management tool, which works with Flux to deploy stuff like this. Then it integrates with Prometheus, which is your monitoring system, maybe a load test application as well. And you can generate the load and start doing a canary testing where you provide some parameters where you decide that in each step, how much of percentage of traffic is going to the next or the new release, a new version. In this case, 5% step every 10 seconds. So every interval of 10 seconds, it will keep on increasing 5% here, reducing 5% from here. And not only that, it is doing the live monitoring with Prometheus. It is collecting the data from the canary, and you define the thresholds like, oh, if there are more than 10 errors, you roll back the release. So all of that will happen automatically. You can generate the load to get some data here as well. And that can keep on going in. So this is monitoring it. So that keeps on going in cycles, loops. So 5%. Then in the second step, it's 10% and 90% here. The third step is 15%, 85, and it keeps on going till it reaches 50%, which is what we have set as max rate. And once it goes through 10 steps, and if there are no issues here, it would go and just deploy to the complete, the new version to the 100% of traffic, right? To take 100% traffic. And that's all happening automatically with the Canary, with Flux Flagger and all that. And all of this is happening, you would learn in that, topics related to GitOps and Flux. Again, the concepts like these don't change. So the way where I have to update the courses is where the actual commands that you run, the actual specs might change, some things break there, and those are the things which you have to keep updated. But otherwise, these concepts like what is a GitOps, what is Flux, how does it work, those kind of things don't change. And that's true for most of the topics, including Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, and whatnot, right? And that's that. So this is what is part of, and all of these are presentations which are included as part of that course to explain the concepts. And there's a lot of work gone into creating each of this, creating the courses, and that's what you get benefit. This is basically like 16 years of my knowledge distilled into these courses, which you have access to via the gold membership. So this is real gold if you want to learn DevOps. And I'm committed to help you, support you on this. And that's why we have built the Devops Mastery System, which has made up of these 5 Cs. And if you want to get started with this, you can avail the gold membership. You might have already received the upgrade offer if you are a silver member already. And if you want to get started with this, though, I would highly recommend getting started with this particular membership level. All right, so that's about the gold. If you are interested in silver membership, drop me a line at, let's say, learn@schoolofdevops.com, the same email address. I don't want to confuse people with different levels of membership at this time. So I'm going to offer this right now. And if you are interested in silver instead, drop me a line at, I'm sharing that address on the chat as well, which is learn@schoolofdevops.com. If you have any further questions, you can drop me a line on that as well. But thank you very much, and all the best with your DevOps journey. We're going to close the sessions here. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gaurav. Thank you.